Hello and welcome back. I want to just jump into today's video so I don't overwhelm myself, but I feel like I just have to preface this video by saying I've been gone for some time now, and it feels good to be back. I feel like if you've been on my channel for a little bit, this may jog your memory, but every year around April and May, I, for some reason, kind of just fall into a rut. It's kind of my seasonal depression of the year, if you will. And yeah, I just kind of disappear for a while. And then I slowly start to feel human again in June, and by the end of June, usually I'm back. And that is exactly what is going on here. I'm trying to get my bearings. I'm trying to come back to life. And I can say all the new horror news has been really, really exciting me. There is so many cool horror movies coming out. Mike Flanagan has announced some new things, and so many cool horror books have been coming out. I actually just bought a couple the other day. So yeah, I am starting to feel a lot better, thankfully. But with that being said, I started so many different projects and video ideas and concepts back in February and March, and then obviously fell off the radar for a little bit. So although this is current alley, it is in fact Friday, June 28th, and it is currently 6:46 my time at night. I have 15 minutes with you guys before this month's 24-hour horror-a-thon starts. So this is current me, but I'm not gonna lie. Some of the next videos you guys are going to see may have a little bit of me from the beginning of this year, because some of those concepts I still want to finish and I still want to complete. There's different books and stuff and series that I was starting and piecing together for videos, and while I may throw some of them out, I'm hoping I can still save some of the ideas, some of the concepts, and post them for you guys. But I would be lying if I said I have read like crazy while I've been gone, because I really haven't. I did get stuck in a series, and I savored the shit out of it. And I honestly think that was really therapeutic and healing for me, so I enjoyed it, and there will be a video coming on it. But besides that, my reading has been so minimal. I've been in such a rut with everything, reading, creative-wise, just everything, life in general, that I'm just really excited to be back. And like I said, in about 10 minutes, it's the June 24-hour horror-a-thon hosted by Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. You guys can go check her out on Instagram or here on YouTube. And this is a bi-monthly readathon. Ever since I discovered her channel and this readathon, it has become pretty much my favorite readathon to attend. And so I rarely miss it. I did miss the last one because, again, mental rut in April. They were also doing the buddy read of a book that I had recently just read, so I was kind of okay with skipping it. But I'm really excited for this one because it is a buddy read I have not read. It is also, I believe, LGBT queer horror. Super exciting. I've been wanting to post for Pride Month with some queer horror recs. Still haven't done that, but I knew that I was probably going to be reading some for this horror-a-thon because I have some novellas I'm wanting to read for it. So it's just going to be like my end of the month Pride wrap-up, I guess, with probably some past favorites that I really, really loved as well. Yeah, this one is Pride themed. And Ashley is going to be joined by Sav from Riveting Reads. I love her, so I'm super excited for tonight's sprints. And then we are going to be buddy reading Elegy for the Undead by Matthew Vesely. That's how you pronounce it. I'll kind of know after hearing from them and stuff for sure, but I'm excited to start that with the sprints. It is a novella. And then tomorrow for the movie watch, it is Bodies, 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 which is on Netflix. So I'm super excited to watch that because It's actually been a movie that has been on my to watch list for a while now. So I'm excited to have like time set aside for it to watch it. So Elegy for the Undead is about Jude and Lyle's newlywed life is shattered when a vicious attack leaves Lyle infected with the disease that transforms him into a violent and often incomprehensible person. With no cure for the zombie virus in sight, the young husbands begin to face the last months they have together before Lyle loses himself completely. That actually sounds so sad. I don't know if I'm gonna be ready for this one. It is 188 pages, and I actually have the audiobook and the ebook for it. I am going to be throwing up books over here because, unfortunately, I did not come prepared, and like all the horror-thons, usually I come up with my TBR the day of, which is awful, I know. But all of my books are either ebooks or audiobooks. I think I actually got all of them on audio, but some of them, if I have the ebook for them, I'm going to try to fit in just some reading as well, but I'll stay productive with the audiobooks too. I am sticking to novellas. I'm not pushing myself with this because, like I said, I'm kind of coming out of a rut, so I don't want to overdo it, but I always pick 4 for my TBR. So my next one is also a queer Pride Month themed, but horror, of course. And that is an LaRocca. I've wanted to read one of their books for so long that I am so excited to finally read one. I'm going to read You've Lost a Lot of Blood. I've heard so many things about it, and a lot of people who I generally get horror recs from really recommended this one over some of their others. So that is on the TBR. I really was hoping to have more for Pride Month for this, but I was at a loss coming up with novellas that I had heard of or been recommended that were also like queer or had some type of representation in them. So for future reference, if you have any, please let me know because I would love to have them for later on. So my next 2 are not really on brand, I guess, with Pride Month, but they're both still horror and novellas. And they've been on my TBR for a while. The first one is Come Closer by Sara Gran. And then my last pick for this is Goddess of Filth by Castro. I'm going to talk about them a little bit more as the readathon goes, but it is now currently 5 minutes till sprint starts, so I'm gonna go get ready, get my drink and get my book ready, and join everybody else for the sprints.
Think you problem solver, well then fucking roll the dice. Feeling pretty pent up when I'm swerving through the night. Got a million bitches and they're trying to hit my line, and I really wanna hit them. I ain't got no fucking time. Yeah, these stupid pussy bitches.
So it came out in October. So apparently October 2020, which makes sense because there's this NAN virus that's like in the current time breaking out, and it's like this like zombie virus. So it's giving like quarantine COVID vibes of a story, but this is more of like a zombie take. Like this virus makes people very irritable, very mean, and they turn on even their loved ones. And if you get bit, you're infected. And then I think at some point, whenever they like pass out or like die, they come back to life. And that is why it's like a zombie virus. The concept of the story, I think, is really cool, and I think they're really trying to build it up to where you really fall for these 2 characters and you're going to be so much more sad towards the end, and I wish it was doing that a little bit more for me. Maybe I'm just very cold-hearted. I don't know. I just feel very off with these characters, and I wish I liked them more. I'm not minding Luke as much, but Lyle is not really my cup of tea, so I'm having a really hard time with their, like, dynamic. During the break, Ashley mentioned that it reminded her a little bit of, A Little Life, which I had kind of seen what that book was about and just kind of figured it wasn't really going to be my cup of tea. So I've never really given it a go. And if this is like that, I know for a fact I'm not going to like that one. She also compared it to Monstrilio, which you guys know I love. And I loved the raw like sadness of Monstrilio, that I can see those two things kind of linking, but Monstrilio and that writing just did it so much more for me. I think that might be what's going on here too, is I'm not really a huge fan of the writing style versus other books like this that I have read, but I definitely don't really compare this with Monstrilio because I feel like the writing is so different and the storyline is so different, but there is sadness to it, and I feel like that it's kind of on brand when it comes to a horror that has all of those like sad elements to it. But yeah, I wish this one was executing it a little bit better for me, but I'm still intrigued to see how it wraps up. I feel like we haven't got to enough of the horror bits yet, so we've only had a little bit of blood. I will say though, the first like tragic scene of like the shit going down and like them seeing firsthand this virus and how it affects people was it was a jaw-dropping moment of something that happened that was super like not something that I like in a book. It made me sad in a way that like I was just like, why was this in here? Like I did not have to have the details of that. So yeah, it can only get better, right? So it is much later in the evening. We have finished sprints. I was able to stick through all the sprints. They were a little chatty tonight, so it was really hard because I kept being left off on parts of the book that I wanted to keep reading. I wish I could say it was because I was really invested. I kind of felt like it was more so I was trying to get through it or trying to see if it was going to get better. And it unfortunately didn't for me. I seem to be the minority with this one though. I've seen somebody give it a 3.5. Someone gave it 4 stars, and Ashley herself gave it 5 stars. So I landed at 2. I had a really hard time clicking with the characters, the main characters. I love a good horror with grief and like really deep, hard topics. But this one just did not do it for me. I just wasn't really connecting with the writing style. I tried the audiobook. I tried just reading it. I tried like tandem, doing both of them, and I just couldn't vibe with it. So I don't really know if it is the writing style or if it was just the fact that like the two main characters that I'm supposed to be like really invested in just didn't do it for me, and I was really sad by it. I didn't really care for their character traits and how they were. At times I was like, oh, this is so sweet, but then I remember like other things that were said or done, and I'm just like, I don't know. I liked that it showed the two humans in on their conversation, because I am tandem reading this one as well. And I I'm enjoying the audiobook so far, so I think I'm going to stick to that. Then we jump back to the actual book. It's like in sections, so it's like You've Lost a Lot of Blood, chapters 1 through 3, and it's about this girl and her brother. They're traveling, they're on their way to like this small town, to this house where she's going to work for this man who, I guess, invents games, and we're starting to realize that these games might be a little bit more sinister than what you think, and it's really eerie. It's like she can't talk to the man who creates these games because he had an accident. That's all we know. She has a brief conversation with his sister, and then she's living out in like the carriage house on the property. And there's just been so many weird, eerie things. I'm trying to piece it together. I feel like from the reviews I've seen of it, which I did not go into detailed reviews because I didn't want to be spoiled, but everybody's kind of saying you're kind of here for the vibes, not really a full-on plot. There's a lot going on. It can be confusing at times, but a lot of people are saying that they had a really fun time with the ride of reading it, and I am so far. It's very interesting and eerie and really creepy at times, and I'm really enjoying it. And the writing style is pretty intriguing, so I do like that. I cannot get over all the different mentions of stuff going in ears and the centipedes. It's creeping me out. But I am going to read a little bit more because I'm actually pretty hooked on this one versus the last one. And when I get too tired, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for bed and talk to you guys tomorrow.
Fucking lose their mind. I just want some loyal brothers making money, trying to grind, but y'all just want to talk.
Good morning.
Man, this shit's so
Can you tell I slept like shit? Oh, the bags are giving today, but James went and got me my latte this morning because he was so productive and got up and like went and walked, and he'd already done the dishes and some laundry before he even got up. And I'm over here on the struggle bus after last night. I could not go to sleep after starting this book. Like, I just could not put it down, and I was like, maybe if I make it like halfway through, I'll be good, you know? Usually I just read, nowadays anyways. The first couple of horror-thons, I tried staying up like all night and then like reading like full-on novels. But since I'm reading novellas, it's so much easier of a task for me to do in 24 hours, reading 4, that I usually just go to sleep and then read 3 on Saturday. And then 1 on, you know, Friday with the sprints. I could not put this book down last night. The You've Lost a Lot of Blood. I know it's so bright because it's on my iPad. There we go. Sorry, you guys. I'm probably just blinding you this entire video. And if you hear my family, they are in there playing Mario Kart right now, and my son is super excited. He must have won. So, where to even begin with this book? I don't really want to say much more than what I did in the last part, besides just go into this book knowing it's an unhinged horror novella. If you get the paperback, it's 236 pages, so in that amount of pages, just know that there's going to be so many things thrown in there that it's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be unhinged because there's so much to fit in those pages. I could have honestly had a full novel of this book, and I can't wait to read more from LaRocca because I was just immersed with his writing. I do agree with some of the reviews. If you get on Goodreads, it might steer you away from this one because there is a lot of disappointed people. I think going into it expecting like a full-fledged story is not the way to go about it. I would take it with the grain of salt that it is a very unhinged story. And not just that, it can be a little confusing because it's a novella within a novella. Like I said, you have these 2 guys that you're trying to figure out their relationship. One of them just seems psychotic. And then is the other one too? We're getting their like conversations, and then we're getting like bits and pieces of one of the guys like poems that are like super unhinged and like some of his confessions. And it's like serial killer type unhinged. And those aspects of it, I didn't mind. They were some of the creepier parts to read. And and left me questioning the whole time, like, what is going on? And I can understand where people are confused with the two not linking together. For some reason, it worked for me, and I did not mind it. But the novella within the novella was my favorite part. I was so immersed into that story, and apparently it was, like, written by, with each, every time it would go from their conversations or his poems into the novella, we would get like a couple chapters of the novella before the next time we had one of their conversations again. And his novella was actually so entertaining. It was the one about like the brother and sister who go to like work for this guy who creates like these games, and they're a little bit more intense games, we're finding out. And the whole time I'm questioning, like, is this supposed to be like today's world? Is this supposed to be like a dystopian read? Like, this guy just left me so confused, but so entertained and so intrigued that I could not put it down until I finished it. And honestly, I think I'm landing at a 5-star with it. I'm shocked because after looking at all the reviews, I was just like, whoa. I do think if you focus on it, and maybe that was me tandem reading too, but I feel like if you focus on it and you can pull apart the fact that it's a novella within a novella, also be able to tell those moments of I'm excited for that because I've been wanting to read more along those lines too. So yeah, I'm excited to wrap up my last 2 novellas today. I will keep you guys informed and hopefully do something else today because I normally have more stuff planned to do to like show you guys or keep you guys entertained along the ride. But I don't know, this horror-thon might just be the book reviews and check-ins for the most part because the other stuff I'm doing is not very fun. I am like backing up my SD cards to my hard drive, my external hard drive, so I have more room on my cards to film. And it's just kind of like, it's supposed to be a productivity weekend, so I don't really have like too much entertainment to show you guys, unfortunately. I'll try.
You hear this, you upset. This ain't a party track, you go and play out with your friends. Yeah, I got some fucking problems, we all fucked in the end. When they fucking want me happy, I ain't fucking play pretend. Couple things I regret, got some rubber now I am. Fucking with me now, they fucking with me now. Every day I repeat, fucking.
The time is now 5:32. And I have completed 3 out of my 4 books. I'm really hoping I can get to the last one before the movie watch tonight, but I might just have to start it and then finish it like after the movie. It'll just extend my 24 hours a little bit, not bad. But I've really have flown through it this readathon, and I definitely think the novellas are the way to go. I do think if I challenge myself a little bit more, I could do like a novel and 3 novellas. I know I can. I've done like 4 novels in 24 hours in the past, or for this readathon. I finished Goddess of Filth by V. Castro. I'll throw this one up because I don't even have it on my iPad. I just had to do the audiobook for this one because I wasn't able to get it as like an ebook too. So I've just kept myself busy. I have these, like 2 of them. Let me turn you guys. These like organization drawers that I've been working on and trying to get organized so that I can jump back into my journaling and scrapbooking and just be a little bit more put together, have all of my stuff in one area, and also not be so messy like around my house. I can just have it all contained. That is the goal. I have 2 of them though. So yeah, I've been just trying to organize all of my hobbies and stuff in them too. So I also made dinner. So we just got done eating, and during that time, I was listening to Goddess of Filth, and this is like a kind of like a possession story. It follows these, it is like Mexican folklore, which I have really, really loved. I believe V. Castro is the same author who wrote, yeah, The Haunting of Alejandra, which was kind of like a Mexican folk tale on La Llorona, and I really, really enjoyed that book. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars. But honestly, Goddess of Filth, I think I could give it 5 stars. It was the same amount of feminine rage that I really loved from The Haunting of Alejandra, but the storyline of it and being so like religion based, but also the strict side of that with becoming a woman, coming of age, and that's exactly how it was, following these girls who, I think somebody's review said, The Craft meets Jennifer's Body, and it's like spot on. These girls are like sitting together, almost doing like a seance of trying to talk to something, just trying to have like some fun, and it turns into something that's terrifying for them, seeing their friend go through what they think is like a possession, but then she seems fine, but then like everything starts unraveling and it's like, what's going on with her? And the girl's mom is freaking out, thinking like her daughter's possessed. She's calling in the priest. And so you have kind of like this possession story, but it just unravels into such a beautiful, like I said, coming of age, the feminine rage that comes with becoming a woman, and everything that our bodies go through, and things that are so frowned upon or so supposed to be so taboo that you shouldn't talk about. And I definitely will say there's triggers for this one, so definitely look those up first. It handles a lot of heavy topics, and I think I forgot to mention that in the last book I read too. There's definitely some heavy topics in that one as well. I think with most horror books, you really have to watch that or be able to navigate those if triggers are harder for you to, you know, digest. I definitely feel like this one, in a sense, I felt triggered in some areas. Not in a way that like destructive for me, but in a way for me to really feel for these characters and really relate with them and what they are going through. And I really loved The Goddess of Filth. I think it was so good. If you have time to sit down and read a little horror novella, and you love, like I said, that female rage and those type of stories, I think you're really going to love this one. V. Castro has such a way with words too. I really love her writing. Even though I listened to it as an audiobook, the narrator was great as well. All right, last book I don't have next to me, but this one is the Come Closer. I believe this is another possession story, so I'm actually really excited because I didn't realize how big of in the mood I was in for these type of stories. But yeah, this one's Come Closer by Sara Gran, and says a recurrent unidentifiable noise in her apartment. A memo to her boss that's replaced by Scene insults. Amanda, a successful architect in a happy marriage, finds her life going off kilter by degrees. She starts smoking again, and one night for no reason, without even the knowledge that she's doing it, she burns her husband with a cigarette. At night, she dreams of a beautiful woman with pointed teeth on the shore of a blood-red sea. The new voice in Amanda's head, the one that tells her to steal things and talk to strange men in bars, is strange and frightening, and Amanda struggles to wrest back control of her life. Is she possessed by a demon, or is she simply insane? I am excited to see where this goes. It also has pretty good ratings from people who I normally relate to when it comes to my horror reads, so I'm really excited. It's 194 pages, so I feel like that'll be a pretty quick read too. And I have both ebook and audiobook, so I'm going to try to get some of it done before the movie watch and then finish it right afterwards. So maybe I can tell you guys my thoughts on the book and also the movie. I think I mentioned it earlier in this vlog, but we're watching Bodies, Bodies, Bodies on Netflix. So I'm excited to see how that goes too, because that's been on my watch list for a while. I am currently, though, going to start this book. If I like the audiobook, I'm going to go through some books, because I have a stack of books here that need to be put away. And I have to start planning out my TBR for Summerween, which I'm so excited about. These readathons are really bringing me back to life and making me excited to like be picking up more books again, and it just feels so good to be back. I did pick up a few books over the weekend. We got out of town one day. Actually wasn't the weekend. It just felt like the weekend. It was actually in the middle of the week, and James kind of had a rough day, so he was like, let's get out of town. So I was like, okay, I'm here for it. I've been cooped up this summer with the kids in the house, and they get really stir crazy. So we went out to dinner and did a little shopping, ran to a Target, and I picked up The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I'm really hoping this is going to hold me over until the third book from the Alex Stern series, Ninth House and Hellbent. If you've read those, then you know. I cannot wait for the third one, and I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer, but I am super excited. I feel like this is gonna be right up my alley, and I love Leigh Bardugo. I really want to get into some of her other series as well. An Education and Malice from S.T. Gibson. This is, I've heard, kind of like a continuation after Dowry of Blood, so I am excited to pick that one up too. And last, but certainly not least, Stephen King's newest book, You Like It Darker. This is a collection of short stories, which is some of my favorites from his. I actually don't think that's true. I think I prefer his horror novels the most. But I have so much fun reading his short stories, even if I end up not liking all of them as much as I do his full-length novels. I just get so much joy out of reading his collections. So I'm really excited. I am going to have to put this one on hold for a little bit. I think one of them is like if I'm not mistaken, a continuation or a sequel to Cujo. And I've never read Cujo. I've only watched the movie. So that's going to be on my to-do list. I don't even think I own it. I need to try to find it at a thrift or something. But yeah, I thought I'd at least share those with you guys. I just filmed a huge haul video. Well, just like 3 months ago. And I edited it and I uploaded it, and then I just left it on private. So if I make that video go live and you want to check out the books I got earlier this year, I think there's like 50 plus books. Check it out. I'll link it up above for you. But yeah, I will probably be back later to let you guys know how I feel about Come Closer and the movie.
Is it
Hello you guys, it is now Sunday and I'm sorry if you hear my washer and dryer. It's like Sunday reset right now. It's Sunday afternoon, but I'm sitting down now because I slept in. I had a really bad night. It is my time of the month and I literally posted in my stories my last review for the 4th book and then was like, I will post my stats tomorrow, peace, because I'm so tired. And I still haven't done it yet today and it's already in the afternoon. So I'm going to do that and I'm also going to do my Pride Month post. I'm hoping I can throw it together in time. Today is the 30th, so it's the very last day of Pride Month, but I still thought it would be cool to post the photo that I've been wanting to post since last Pride Month, but also just to throw some Pride recs out there for the whole year because they're such incredible books. I probably will share my most recent ones too, even though they weren't, like, this last one wasn't my favorite ever, but it is what it is. I think other people will like it, and that's why I think it should still be, like, you know, a rec. Anyways, I thought I would wrap up this video by looking like a horror, like a character from a horror movie. For my other skincare lovers out there, this is the Glow on Fifth Beauty Refresh and Reset. It is like a turmeric, like, brightening mud mask. I've been using it for the past couple weeks and I've seen a huge difference in my skin when it comes to like how glowy it is without having like any makeup on or anything. It just has been looking so good. But it is my time of the month, so I also need like a little bit of that like detox too because I'm breaking out. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up because I do feel like absolute shit today. I finished Come Closer. This was another 5 stars, you guys. I could not put this book down. I was so invested. And it is, the writing style, you can kind of see where it is a older book. And when I say older, I think it's like 2003. So, I mean, it's aged some, yes, but it's not older than me. So there were like a few things that were a little, you know, in it, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I don't really want to give a whole lot away because I think it's such a fun ride. And again, it being another novella, I think you should really go into novellas not knowing too much so that it is just kind of like a whole experience for you too. But we follow this girl who kind of feels like she's like losing her mind and she's having like these weird like little blackout moments, and throughout it, every so often she goes through this list that is, are you possessed by a demon? And there's 1 through 10, and it's like, I hear strange noises in my home, especially at night, which family members tell me only occur when I am present. I have new activities and pastimes that seem out of character, and I do things that I do not intend and do not understand, and then like short and ill-tempered with friends and loved ones, and it kind of goes on and on and on down to like the worst, which is like I have urges to hurt and kill animals and people, or I have hurt or killed animals and people. So like this girl is going through this list and like slowly her number is rising on this list, but it's kind of just like a story of like her mind like deteriorating. And I feel like with possession stories, I want the full-on horror. Like, I want it to be like a good possession story. And I feel like this did that. This wasn't some type of like metaphor story. This was like the actual like possession and chills and just all of the horror bits. I loved it so much. And I felt like it was done in such a way that is unique to what I've read in other books. So that was a bonus. The writing style, the story in general was just like fun to read. And like I said, I didn't put it down. I just kept reading. Well, I lied. I read like the first couple pages and I was hooked. And then we watched the movie. I actually didn't get to join the watch party. We watched it a little bit earlier because James was ready to sit down and watch a movie. So I was like, let's just watch it. But then I came right back to this afterwards. After that movie, I was like, okay, I can't watch any more movies because I have to finish this book. So I did really, really enjoy it. I definitely recommend it. And there, I believe Sara Gran? I believe she has like a newer book that came out not too long ago that people were raving about, and I definitely want to read it now. Yeah, in 2022, she came out with the Book of the Most Precious Substance. If you guys have seen that cover, I'm intrigued. I want to read it. Another 5-star, which I think wraps me up to 3 5-stars for this. Like, such amazing picks for this horror-a-thon. So the buddy read Elegy for the Undead, I believe. I did land at a 2-star, and I feel like that kind of started this all off of being like a, oh, is this gonna be a bad TBR for this 24 hours? But V. Castro with Goddess of Filth. Wait, I think I read one before this one too. Yeah, I read the You've Lost a Lot of Blood, and that brought it back 5 stars, and I was so excited that it was another like Pride or queer horror. So that brought it back around. And then Goddess of Filth, I'm looking at my like Instagram stories because my brain is just mush right now, by V. Castro. I also gave 5 stars. And then Come Closer, I also gave 5 stars. Such good recs this month. And since I don't have my stats for you guys, I'm just gonna throw them up over here. The stat page I think has like the amount of pages I read, how many books I read. I want to say it says like what's your favorite part, which I'm not even sure. I just felt like I really enjoyed, I'm not gonna lie, I think I really enjoyed the possession stories. I think those were my highlight because I loved them so much. It was possession with female rage, and I loved that so much with Goddess of Filth and with Come Closer. They were just both such good books, and I just want more. I want more possession stories, and I want more, I don't know what that says about me, but I also want more female rage because I am definitely going through my female rage moment right now, and I just want more of that. Like, I feel like I'm living through them. Oh my god. Anyways, all that to say, I also watched Bodies, 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 and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this was one of the first times I've really felt like a boomer millennial, like an old millennial, because for the first like 20, 30-ish minutes of this movie, I was like, I feel really old. I'm not relating to any of these people. I'm not enjoying really any of these people. I'm having a really hard time getting into this movie, and I had heard such good things about it, but thankfully it turned around, and it is a very silly, you can't take it seriously horror, but towards the end especially, there's so many iconic things. The podcast kills me. The whole plot of it I think is really cool. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is a game where all of these like younger generation are like stuck in like this guy's mansion and his family's mansion, and they're of course doing drugs and different things like that, but they play Bodies, 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 which is pretty much like Among Us IRL or IRL Clue. So they all get a piece of paper, and the one that has the X on the piece of paper is the killer, and then they all the lights go out in the mansion. So it's kind of like this spooky like atmosphere anyways, and the killer has to just go up and tap somebody on the back, and then they have to lay down. And when you find a body, you have to yell body, 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 bodies, bodies, bodies. And then figure out who did it. And it's kind of just like a mess anyways, but they end up finding an actual body that's very gory, and they start spiraling from there trying to figure out who actually did it. There's a hurricane, so they're like trapped. It was a really good time. It ended up being a lot better than I anticipated, and the twist of it all and how everything wrapped up was so good, and it was definitely more on the unexpected side, and I'm so glad they went in that direction because I really feel like it just made the movie what it is. And yeah, it was a really good time. But as always, thank you so much, Ashley, for hosting this little 24-hour horror-a-thon. I always have such an amazing time. And also to Sav for joining. Let me know if you joined, what you read. And if you've read any of these books I've read, let me know what you think. I think that's it, you guys. I will hopefully see you in another video soon. Again, you're probably going to see Allie from March in some of the upcoming videos because there was just so much pre-filmed. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.